warfare the last couple days. There's been a couple days this past week. I was in a place of really intense warfare. And then it broke on Friday night about 7 o'clock. It's interesting how God really controls our lives, because you can be in the midst of something and then in the midst of something else, but yet it all comes out okay in the end because of God in our lives. So Friday evening, I was just actually in the car. I was driving down the road, and the breath of God came, you guys. And I'll tell you what broke the warfare. It was that eternal hope. That's what I want to tell you this morning. It's the eternal hope of God that just lifted me up into that place, and it broke that thing off. And I tell you, there are bands that are being attempted to be wrapped around our hearts, of God's people's hearts, our spirits, to hold us back. You know, and the Lord is just really breaking off those bands right now. But we have got to understand this hope, that this eternal hope of the kingdom that is with us. But this hope is so eternal. It really is holding this full redemption. It's really holding our expectation. You know, Ronnie talked about this expectation of God is the expectation of us. And this hope, because hope is that thing that is just really builds up in your spirit. It just builds up in your heart. And within this hope, I'll tell you what's within this hope, of what I was sensing in that day on Friday when I was caught up in this hope, is it again takes you above all of the earthly circumstances. It takes you above all of the sorcery. It takes you above all of that, and you're seeing clearly. This hope gives you eyes to see. This hope gives you eternal eyes that you can behold what is to come. And it also is the hope that fills your heart, that within the midst of that hope, that's the hope that you take action with. To see the things that you see come to be upon the earth. Without that hope, there is, as the scriptures say, it makes the heart sick. So it is that hope that we need to keep alive within us. You know, again, if we could fully understand the hope that is within us and what that is building in the face of the earth, we would forsake all to build it. And that is that hope that's rising within our hearts, that gives us the assurance that what God has said in His Word shall surely come to pass. It's one of those things, again, we're talking about the difference between the world's hope and what the eternal hope is. And the world's hope is, again, well, I wish it would come to pass. I hope it does. I hope something gets fulfilled. But in the eternal hope, there is always that surety that it shall come to pass, because it's God's Word, the two immutable things, His Word and His presence.
I think you said one thing that stood out to me when you said about hope. Hope is based on what you've claimed. If you don't claim anything, your hope is not going to be great.
Well, I think that's why it's coupled with faith. You know, it's that trio of, see, it's all operating out of love, but you have that faith, and you have the hope, and you have love. It's all coming out of that place of love. And, you know, those are the...
The hope really is a firm expectation which is based on the word, and it's something which you embrace, and you know that this is God's promise to you, and you hold on to it. So it gives a direction to your faith, because
it also is that hope is that place of belief. There's that belief in God's Word, as you said. There's that belief in what He says it shall surely come to pass. There is that hope. Now, I don't know about you. There's times, you know, when the world does feel like it's coming in on you. If we lose that hope, because hope is that thing that has the encouragement in it. Hope is that thing that has the, again, the ability to act upon. Hope is that thing that just keeps you going. And you don't just stand there and hope, well, I hope. You hope. That hope is what builds us up. But it also is that thing that which was promised to come to pass shall surely come, and you shall be a part of that. I don't know if that's making sense to you, but you shall be a part of that hope that's rising up within you. You will be the answer to that very thing upon the face of the earth. So the promises of God is that hope that builds us.
I think also hope is that thing that creates, that God uses to create something, which is our hope that we have. He uses to create because without us giving him that hope, he has nothing to drink within us. If we don't have the hope that we're carrying, he uses that to create that thing within us and within our lives.
Yeah.
You know, if we claim the hope, then he has something to create with.
That's right. I know it is such an eternal thing. It is such an eternal thing, and it has the power. It has the power to do exactly what I was saying. You build with that hope. You know, it's not a hope that's inactive. That's what I'm saying. That's the point I'm making. It's not well, you just hope, and then there's this out here we're hoping. But it's not inactive, because that hope is very active and brings about what you're hoping for. What the hope that's within you. That's why it's with faith and with love.
That's what I said. Without hope, you can't have faith. With faith, then you start speaking it, and then it goes from your
It's
head
kinda like-
to your spirit.
It's kind of like the faith is substance, not seeing. But it's substance. There's substance there, something you can use to create with.
So I think it would be incumbent upon God's people to get out of the mindset of what hope in the world's hope is. Because we hear that word hope, and the world's hope is so different from God's because of the eternal that is in it. That it is Christ is our hope. Christ is our hope. You know, we are prisoners of that hope, which is Christ. Christ. What is the hope? The hope of full redemption in the earth. And anyway, that's where I was. That is what came. That eternal hope came and just broke off the warfare, and it took me up above, and it totally broke it. And so I know it's a big thing. I know it's something deep that we have to grab hold of as God's people in this very hour.
There was something going on, because that's when my breakthrough came through. There was just this place where, well, you know, without getting graphic, I'm just coughing the bottom of my lungs up again, and there was just something. This hope just rose up in me, and I said, "This is ridiculous. I've rebuked this thing twice, and now it's trying to come back again." And I went back after it. I said, "Lord, with this breath of life, and with this waters of life, and with the fire of life, there is no reason this thing cannot be stopped." And man, it just changed everything. And Ray told me that, now you need to know, for probably 2 weeks here, I have not been sleeping through the night. I've had maybe 1 or 2 hours sleep max total combined every night. And he came home and he said, "Man, you were in a whole different place. You were sound asleep. Your body was totally quiet." And I had just rebuked that thing, and I was just in this place of worship before the Lord. I did not even know I had fallen asleep. I just thought that is the grace of the Lord. The work and the warfare of it was done, and I could just so lean into Him.
So I think, see, and that's key, because in the midst of this warfare that I was going through at the time came a couple of bouts of travail. And I believe that this is something that just has got to come into the earth. This hope has got to abound in our hearts, you guys. It's got to totally abound in our hearts, and we must hang on to it. We must hang on to the hope of who Christ is. We must hang on to the God of hope. And it is truly essential right now. I believe that part of that warfare, I'm going to go back to what I said earlier. There are even fierce men, even rebellious men in their conduct, even that, and Ezekiel talks about this, try to place these bands around our hearts. Bands around our spirits to hold us in that oppressed. And I believe there's a lot of people in that kind of a place. That's why this hope has got to abound, and that hope will break off these bands that are around God's people.
Yes.
And whether it's around the mind, whether it's your spirit trying to keep you from ascending, whatever it is, that hope needs to abound. And I know that is just key for this very hour.